like than I was expecting.
What?
This
Oh,
episode
this
in general,
episode?
yeah, it was more information than I was
I
expecting.
feel like this is like your favorite episode of all time.
No, because now I had to come to terms with some things that I'm not ready to come to terms with.
Yeah, I can think of one thing in particular.
No, we're not. No, we are definitely not talking about that. I rewound that thing like 3 times just to see if I could figure out if I found some loophole. Like, spoiler alert, I found no loophole.
You found a loophole?
No, spoiler, I found no loophole.
I hope someone picks up that phone, Jeremy.
No, because you didn't call it. You didn't
Call
call. No, you did. No, you didn't. No, you didn't call it. All right. Well, hey, everybody, welcome to the next episode of Anime4All podcast. I am very sad, but before we get to that, we're gonna deal with some if there's any change in our statistics. I made sure to actually add my Twitter link to the last podcast episode to see if that does anything. I highly doubt it will, but we will see. So let me just sign into here real quick. Hope everybody has had a good week. Things in real life at this point, we'll be looking at this years later, realizing how horrible it was because of some idiots not wanting to do certain things. But we're not gonna get into that because real life sucks sometimes. Oh, we got another follower in the time of the week. What? I don't even know when this follower showed up. Okay, then. Wasn't expecting that. You still there, Jock?
No, I went away.
Oh.
I'm excited about a follower. I was waiting for you to find out where they were from and stuff.
I don't know. I don't know if I can find the information out. It'd be cool if they could show me where that follower came from.
I thought you said like you knew that they were from Germany and stuff sometimes.
No, I didn't. I knew that there were viewers from Germany. I could tell that much.
Oh, but not followers?
Yeah, I can't tell what followers from where. Because it's not a specific. And I know this is kind of new to RSS, I'm guessing. So maybe at some point that'd be something cool that they could do. Show where the followers came from, if what country they're a part of.
You'd probably integrate it with Google Analytics and then figure it out from there.
You got some blue spots over the U.S. map though of downloads, so that's a good thing.
That's awesome.
And then we got some places like over here in the eastern part of the world, like Belgium, Frankfurt. So yeah, there's some downloads in Germany, all right. I don't know if they're there for the My Hero or they're there for the Shaman King. I have no idea if I'm being honest. Oh wow, there's somebody over there in Bangladesh is listening. Jeez. Okay.
I've got friends in Bangladesh.
That might be them then. Maybe they found out you're doing a podcast.
Hi, Kritika, if it is you.
Jeez. It'd be funny if there's a respondent to this.
Hi, Vavi.
Jesus. Okay, you got a lot of friends in Bangladesh. Well, a lot by 2 that you've already acknowledged.
And those 2 and Evan is pretty much the group.
Hmm.
I don't know if Ashwin lives in Bangladesh or not.
No Canadian downloads though. And no Mexican downloads. Oh, we got somebody in Brazil apparently.
Oh yeah.
Somebody in Porto Vejo down there in South America.
That's pretty great.
Rio de Janeiro, really? Okay. We got some people down there. Sao Paulo. I don't know. I'm not even gonna. I'm already butchering people's names, so I'm not gonna. I mean, not names of butchering people's places where they're living, so I'm not gonna continue that. That's about it, actually. That's a little sad. I mean, hopefully we'll get our reach a little bit further. I mean, we're definitely reaching over the United States, so that's good. At least we're where we're broadcasting from, or where we're recording from, is in the United States. So That's good. Oh, look at that, Texas. San Antonio, near San Antonio, Texas. That is where my grandmother is from. Was from because she's passed, but oh dear. Port St. Lucia in Florida, Jacksonville in Florida. Jeez, get somebody in. Is that Alabama? No, that's Georgia. Okay, but enough of that. I guess we've discovered more and more about where some of these downloads are coming from. I wish I could figure out who the followers are, but we will. Maybe RSS will do something with that at some point.
Interesting. I really like that we're getting some people that are listening in and stuff. I think it's really welcome. I'm dying to hear I'm dying for the day when somebody comments and puts their 2 cents in about what we're talking about, because I'm really curious with some of the theories that we share, especially recently, what people think about it.
Let's hope maybe the reach. I mean, like right now, like the most guaranteed reach we'll probably ever have is on YouTube. But I'll also need to start watching the sounds that play through, such as I found out that the people who animate My Hero, are actually listening, or will have some type of generator going on YouTube where they claim and block stuff. I found out today actually when the podcast from last week went live, well, the video podcast went live. It immediately got blocked by them because some music was playing from the episode from that week. So I had to watch that now because they block it.
One of ours or one of your other podcasts?
Just one of one of our podcast episodes, the one that came out today.
It must have been like a tenth of a second then, because we never play our music from the episodes.
I think I let some go through on my end. I think that was me. I didn't think, and I forgot all about it. I really did. I'm like right now. I have YouTube doing the trimming out of the episode, so it'll go live when it goes live. Unfortunately, there'll probably I think 10 minutes of the video will be mute. I think.
Right.
And I hope it's not anything important that gets muted. But I'll deal with that. Well, right now I'm going to be a little bit more vigilant with that now because that's a problem that I don't want to have to deal with. So far, the only place that the conversation would not be muted will be on on where the podcast get distributed. Until maybe something happens with that, I have no idea. I don't think anything will happen. I hope and cross my fingers. But
right.
With that, we're going to talk about an episode of My Hero Academia, episode 105. The hellish Todoroki family. Ugh. I know Jock was just dancing all over his room, his house, watching this episode, thinking of me specifically, just dancing all over. I hate every minute of it, but fine. We'll get in this episode. Right now I have notes here, so we'll start off
Did
with
you
this.
hear me shouting with joy while I was watching the episode on Saturday?
Yeah, I feel like I was here. I thought I heard something while I was playing Skyward Sword. I wasn't sure what the heck was happening.
I know you're about 7 states away, but I'm pretty sure you could have heard it even if you're in Australia. It was just jubilation, I believe, is the correct word.
It's sad you get this much pleasure out of this.
I know my favorite superhero in My Hero Academia is a frog, but this time I told you so, man.
Why? He's trying to improve himself, but why? With all the things that they decide to get confirmation on, this entire episode was just a big old slap in the face.
It was rough. It was rough for you.
I was sitting there looking at all the loopholes I could try to pull, but everything I saw, there was nothing. There was nothing at all. Even the mother burning Shoto's face, even that was like, are you kidding me? There was no loophole there.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever, we're gonna do this in order. The episode begins. We essentially hear Deku's next goal, which is to get his hero strength up to in surpassing Endeavor, because we found out this is a week later now, and they still have not been able to capture a villain before Endeavor does. Even the times when they seem like they have a chance, Endeavor immediately just jumps in and captures him.
Oh,
And
don't you think he's playing him?
Hmm?
Don't you think Endeavor's playing him a little bit?
What do you mean?
Giving him he's not going quite as fast as he possibly could, so that he so they keep wanting to try a little harder.
I mean, this entire episode we've seen Endeavor's nicer side, which is surprising. I think I even wrote that down, Endeavor being nice, because at the end of their workday, he mentions like they should rest and go home and sleep, because like they need to be rested for the next day to not let their fatigue get to them, which was surprising. At
Why
least
is
from
it surprising though? He's trying to like grow them because he knows that there's hundreds of thousands of people coming and that this is their cavalry. Like 1A and the students are their cavalry for like when this battle starts. So
But he doesn't come
he's
off as a teacher to me. That's the thing. He's doing a whole he's doing a heck of a job here though. But he never came off as a teacher to me.
yeah.
Uh, so it's surprising that he's able to teach. Granted, I guess it's
So
not that surprising because like last episode, he
not to
managed
jump
to pick
ahead,
up.
but we know that he's probably spent a lot of time thinking about how he could have been a better teacher from like what we know about him in the past teaching. So I mean, this is probably a redemption thing. Like he's kind of lamented his failures of being a teacher, in the process of being a father before.
I mean, Endeavor's redemption. I'll get to that topic in a minute because I definitely wrote something down about that. But
But this is definitely part of his redemption arc, like the idea of him being a better teacher when he was pushing Todoroki too much when Todoroki was younger. So now he's got a second chance to teach Todoroki, and I think he's like had a lot of time to think about how we could do it better. He's been talking to All Might about how he could be a better person. Like the whole theme of this lately is he's like, crap, now I'm like the number one hero. I've got to make this worth it. And he's taking a lot of humility shots, over the last few years, and not necessarily mellowed out, but just like seeing the light a lot more than I think he did at one point.
well, I mean, we saw at the very beginning of this episode where he really showing up as a number one hero. He's really protected people. He's gotten there. He's definitely his whole motto here, this entire thing about teaching Deku and Bakugo and Todoroki is like accumulation of experience, which is something that he clearly was relating to himself because he couldn't match All Might's sheer ability to just be that good. We've already talked about, I guess, the situation that All Might has put, well, the world in. Not just Endeavor, but he's put the situation that All Might's put the world in. But um, even with that, he's showing that he's definitely taken up a lot of like the fallout from All Might not being there anymore. I'm still surprised that he could be that fast. I was shocked. I was like, geez, he can be really quick.
Well, yeah, he's the number one hero. He's going to be on the quicker side. We don't know if he's like the most fast hero, but he's definitely going to be on the quicker side. What do you think of the dichotomies going on in this episode? Do you think that like because they call it the hellish, family, or what do they call it? Endeavor is what hellish.
I think the episode is called the Hellish Todoroki family. I think it's what the episode title is.
Todoroki. So here we have like someone that's both fire and ice, representing the conflicting forces of his mother and father. And then we have Endeavor's conflict of the past and the present. But we also have Endeavor like being held up against All Might, who's sort of angelic, don't you think? Like to the people, he's angelic. When he shows up and he's like, "There's nothing to fear, for I am here." And here we have like this devil-looking guy with fires like licking off of him. It's harder to think of him as like anything. I mean, standard mythology and other things like that would kind of make him look like a devil. The episode says that his family is hellish, just you know what I mean, and he's got a son that has the conflict of fire and ice in him. Like it just seems like they're really emphasizing the devilish side of Endeavor that he's struggling against. You know what I mean? And then Endeavor has two sides that he's fighting against here too. And then we even have little things like in the comic relief section, we have Deku and Bakugo kind of playing opposite sides and being conflicted forces as well. So it's just really interesting how they have like all these dichotomies, all these opposites like being placed against each other in juxtaposition, like to go up against each other. And I think that's really cool that like you're seeing that with Endeavor. Like he's sort of a demon trying to be an angel right now, and having some progress at it, which is really cool of him.
I I mean, I guess I honestly what it comes down to is he's showing that he's trying to change, even though nobody else believes him. And I think a lot has to do with the fact that Endeavor looks menacing. All Might didn't. Even with All Might's eyes missing, he had this presence, and Endeavor has a presence too. And I would say he has a protecting presence just as much as All Might does. But
Endeavor looks
because of the way
absolutely
he
evil.
looks and the way he does his business, it isn't like All Might. And I think that's a lot at fault. There's a lot at fault with that, with the people around him that don't like him because it's the same situation as like, what do you do when the number one hero, the like, what do you do when this unstoppable brick wall just stops being unstoppable? Even if you do
Hmm.
put up a secondary brick wall that's supposed to be just as good, no one's gonna have that much faith in that second brick wall, unlike they had with that first brick wall. That's essentially what we have happen here. The brick wall, the unstoppable brick wall, was All Might, but then that, you know, wasn't as unstoppable because there was a weak point in it. And now you got this other brick wall that's trying to do just as good and probably can do just as good, but unfortunately doesn't have the backing of the people behind it.
But the interesting thing here is we have the number one hero placed against the future number one hero, Deku. And like I said, he's the devil trying to be the angel. And then you have Deku, who is like inheriting the mantle of the angel. You know what I mean? He's going to be the next All Might. That's his hero. That's his goal, to be like All Might. And at the same time, he's trying to emulate the devil, Endeavor. And like you see that Deku can't help but be an angel, and he can't help but change everybody around him for the better in the same way that All Might sort of did sometimes. Like All Might's
I mean, you
aura.
say that, but wasn't changed. Natsu didn't want anything to do with him. I mean, even when he was trying to, he's
Okay, you can
trying to
say
be,
that, but
huh?
Natsu and you can say that, but Natsu and Endeavor were standing outside listening to Midoriya give his speech about how I don't think you hate your father. I think you're waiting for your like you're waiting to forgive him. And
But
you
I
hear
don't
both of
think
them
Natsu's
outside.
changing. He's already been very adamant that he does not. He I honestly I wrote down somewhere too that I guess before you bring up, so we have names for the people in the Todoroki family. Fuyumi Todoroki is the older sister, the girl, the only female presently in that house, because the mother is off someplace in a ward.
How do you
Natsu,
spell Fuyumi?
I put down Fuyumi.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Uh,
Okay, go ahead.
got Natsu. Well, I guess his name is Natsuo. I just put Natsu because it's easier to go down. We have the missing second older brother, the one that's older than Natsu, whose name is Toya. We got an
You
image
know,
of him for the first time at the end of the episode, which is cool.
Toya is Japanese for door.
I don't know what you're getting at with that.
I don't know. I was curious about Fuyumi because it sounds like fume, like almost like a fire quirk kind of name. But it's interesting that Toya, the one that we don't really have except as sort of a symbol, as a memory, is the door to something. So I don't think that was a
Well, I
mistake.
mean, I guess they're using Toya as a door to figure out more about the family. Because right now, I wanted to bring up Toya and Natsu's names because we see that Natsu has some problems with Endeavor, and most seems to stem around his older brother. Because we see him break down and have a fit earlier on in the series, they bringing up I hate you because of what you did to Shoto and my big brother Toya. He says those specifically two names, and it seems like he's really more hurt with Toya, who we don't know what happened, but based on that shrine that Endeavor's praying to, we can assume he's dead. Well,
Yeah.
I say dead in quotation marks. Um, I want to bring something up to you real quick. This episode's been using a lot of like old scenes queued up from like earlier season 2. Did you notice that in the flashback where we see Endeavor pulling Shoto away on the top floor? If you look at the bottom, we see 3 kids. But at the end of the episode, we see Toya, but he has white hair. There's a kid in there that has red hair. I think it's a miscolor, but it's so weird that I don't know if that was on purpose in terms of like so we don't know what his hair color was at the time. It seems so weird.
That does seem weird. It's got to be a miscolor.
'Cause I figure I'm blown away as a miscolor until we have proved otherwise. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's really weird that we see the Shine picture of him and he has white hair. I was actually sitting here like when I was watching, I was like, please don't pan away at Dobby. Please don't pan away at Dobby because they're just that's a confirmation. I was like, please don't pan away at Dobby because we do. That's a confirmation. There's no way you can blow that off as like a just a coincidence.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, I'm not saying Natsu can't forgive him, but at the same point, it seems like Natsu is really adamant by not forgiving his father. He's made that very adamant. At least with Shoto, he doesn't know what he wants to do yet.
Right.
So there's a yeah. I guess another thing too is like we see Fuyumi, the older sister. She said that she has the same hatred for Endeavor as her younger brother, but she still wants her family to be a family, which makes sense. I felt kind of bad for her because she's trying to be the magnet, trying to pull all the other forces together into a family, and and we also find out that she's been helping Endeavor in the background, which is actually really nice of her because she doesn't have to do that. Um, I guess it kind of shows that she's more willing to forgive the past than Natsu is, or even Shoto was at the time. But I guess speaking of like Endeavor and family issues, I wanted to speak. Can you bring up a redemption arc? But at the same time, there's this dream that Endeavor has, and he says he's been having it for weeks on end now, where he sees his family having dinner, laughing, enjoying themselves, but he's not present at the table. I don't know. That doesn't seem like a redemption arc. That seems more like he's more um he's aware of the reason why, but at the same time, it seems more of like I don't know. To me, it seems like such a sad revelation in a really weird way that you realize what you've done. At the same time, you don't see a way out for you. Is what I'm getting from that dream. It seems like he feels like he's messed up so much that there's no way he could be at that dinner table. I don't know if like maybe I'm thinking about that too much or whatever. I mean, I don't know what are your thoughts?
Are we talking about Endeavor or Natsuo?
Endeavor, Endeavor's dream.
I think I don't know, Jeremy. I don't know. I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Um,
Because to me,
I
if you see a revelation, usually a dream like that, the person that needs to be redeemed would be also be at the table, wouldn't they? But in this situation, Endeavor isn't at the table. Actually, it doesn't appear to be there doesn't appear to be any room for Endeavor at the table either. Because you got the mother, you got all three children.
yeah, I don't know how I feel about the symbolism of that. I think it could go a lot of different directions. I'm sorry. I know you're expecting some deep opinion from me because I usually have one, but
I just put down like, it's just a sad revelation in my opinion because it's like he realizes what he's done, but it doesn't seem like to me that dream tells me that he doesn't think there's a way back because he keeps on asking the question, "What can I do for my family?" And then he talks about that dream, and it's like it seems like such a sad revelation that you have these dreams, but you're not present.
so
All you can do is watch.
do you think that maybe he doesn't feel like necessarily all he can do is watch, but that he feels like he can't be part of it, but he's there to serve it still?
I mean, that's still such a sad revelation though, because it's like
It's very sad. Yeah, I don't think he's like he doesn't feel like he's not a. I don't think he doesn't feel like he's not a participant. I think he feels like maybe he's a contributor to the cause, but someone that can never belong in it.
I
Does
mean,
that make sense to you?
I mean, yeah, but I still like. I mean, yeah, I mean, it can go both ways. I mean, regardless of anything, it's still like a sad revelation because
Yeah, it is.
it's a very sad revelation. I mean, not like he didn't deserve it, But I mean, we'll get to that later because I'm trying to slowly inch my way towards it. I hate every moment this going by. But there's also a flashback that I wrote down here. I already brought it up about there is what appears to be the missing son with red hair. As I said before, I'm dismissing it as either a purposeful miscolor trying to redirect attention or accidental. Uh, but I'm pretty sure it's accidental because that seems kind of weird. Then again, I mean, they didn't know at the time they made that background. They didn't know about that kid. I'm actually kind of curious if he was even present in the flashback back then. Maybe it was something new they did. I have no idea.
It seems like they're deliberately leaving him out for the time being. Like, I think they don't want to tell us too much about that kid.
Well, I mean, that's obvious based on how the episode ends.
Yeah. But I think they're withholding it on purpose, and it's not necessarily his absence from things does not necessarily like reflect anything that we need to be thinking about so much as like it's just the plot trying to keep information away from us until it's fun for them to bring it into the storyline. They feel like we're ready for it. I mean, there's a lot of teasers in the way they build this in general, and I think this is just part of that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, here we are to the main event of the show. That I know and I'm gonna say these words, and he's gonna spout off his own little take on it all. But I'm just gonna spout these words that I wrote down. Confirmed, Endeavor tosses his wife while she is trying to protect Shoto.
Yes. Oh, I've never agreed with you so much.
I hate this. Because like a part of me is glad that we got confirmation, but a part of me is like, I so want to like Endeavor, but right now, past Endeavor is doing absolutely no favors to this cause, and a part of me knows that this is the past, and he's trying to make good. There's also this piece of me that's like, you piece of crap, son of a gun, why do you have to be so bad? And like I've never been so conflicted on a character in an anime period. That's where I'm at right now. I'm very conflicted. And I knew I was conflicted, but I was hoping that maybe the confliction would stop at some point, but this is just making it even worse. His wife, by the way, we got her name. I feel like we gotten her name before, but I never wrote it down. Is Rei Todoroki. Her first name is spelled Rei.
Yep.
So I mean, we see that she's trying to protect her son, which is what a mother would do. Granted, based on how this is playing out, I mean, I'm not going to dismiss what's happening here, but based on how this is playing out, it seems like a memory from Shoto's side versus a memory from his father's side, if that makes sense. But it's so weird because it seems really dramatized, and I'm not discounting what happened here, but it seems like overly dramatic. Because like based on what I saw, like she was falling in slow motion, which doesn't happen. And this wouldn't be from his side either, because I mean, if he was tossing her and he felt like he was in the right, that wouldn't have been in slow mo either.
Correct. But
So
yeah, probably from Todoroki's perspective, because he's the one that like he knows full well what happened, and it's not like the father came back and told him all about it later. So obviously Todoroki must have been there, and well, he was there on the spot seeing it. So we were seeing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he was 5 at the time. I wrote down he was 5 at this time when this happened. So I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to. I am not like that. What he did with it was horrible. But I was sitting here looking for loopholes and I couldn't find any because it was so blank.
It was a little loud.
It was in my face and I couldn't just ignore it. I really wanted to ignore it so badly, but I couldn't. I hate it. But then we go over to the next scene, which you get a little bit more context for, is when Todoroki was burnt. We see the scene where she tosses the water on him, but we also see what happened after, which is she apologized profusely. But I don't know if she was in her right mind or not, which is even weirder. You saw her face, and it was like very. There was some intent to hurt in her face there, but I don't know if she ever meant it towards her son.
She kind of just snapped, I think.
But
Was there any other way to see it than she just freaked, like she just snapped?
I mean, it's quite clear that she snapped, but at the same time, the way she looked, even if she did snap, it was like clear intent to protect herself. If that meant hurting somebody, then that was going to be how she was going to protect herself. It was unfortunate that it happened to be a boiling pot. We also find out that apparently Todoroki, even though it was his mother that burned him, Todoroki blames Endeavor. So, I mean, it was said before, but I mean, he said it. He said it here in plain text that he blames. He believes his father was the one that burnt him with that scalding hot water, not his mother. Which is
Right.
weird to think that he puts no fault on his mother for that, even though she was panicking. But anything else written here that I wrote down? Well, no. I guess I skipped a lot of this was happening here because like I gave up. All hope was lost.
All hope was lost.
Like all hope I had was lost.
Oh boy, I
Uh,
like this episode.
I know you do. And you take too much pleasure in this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm very conflicted, and we see other sides too, like Fuyumi. She's she really like. I feel like she's also hurting a lot in this situation too, because she's trying to move past everything, but she understands her brother's feelings, and she really, really doesn't want to. She wants to move on, but it sounds like the other family like is not willing to do the same, which is
Yeah.
understandable. But
What was the name of the Nana? I was just never mind. I was curious about something, but
what's the
the
name of the what
one
now?
never mind. I was
No,
gonna say that the seventh one for all was Nana, and I was curious if her name was similar to anything. Because
no, I mean I don't think. You might have some symbolism. I had no idea.
I kept like trying to connect Nana to Ray in my mind when I was watching this, and I couldn't quite do it. But I just got the feeling that there was like some sort of conceptual connection between the two of them, but I'm not sure I could speak to in very much detail to it. At a glance, I don't know, I just get the similar feel from the two of them, but I can't say why.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. There's no connection between them. They may look the same because of just the creators probably use the same mold to make them. It's probably the only connection they probably have if there's any connection between them at all. I can't really imagine any other connection. We can make
Yeah,
the argument that Shigaraki, but Shigaraki is the only reason connection you probably would make with him is that he just had white hair. But we already got
uh,
the last name from them, and it's like that he's related to Nana.
I know the connection I was thinking about. I was trying to remember because I had this thought before the podcast. It was interesting to me that um, Nana had a grandson that was corrupted and became the villain of the story. As the number one hero, she lost her grandson, who became the villain of the story. Whereas we're starting to see that Endeavor has lost a son who seems like increasingly it looks like they're suggesting that lost son might be a corrupted villain now too. We had thought it was Dobby for a while, but now it kind of looks like maybe it's the white-haired person from the beginning of this episode and things like that. So there was like in the opening scene, Jesse and I had noticed, and I'd have to find the exact second now, but we had noticed someone that we think was probably similar to the guy that was teased in the closing credits and stuff like that, and we were thinking that might have been Endeavor's lost son and that he's not necessarily dead.
Well, here's the thing. I don't like. I mean, just because just because Dobby doesn't have white hair doesn't mean he couldn't be his son. I mean, dyeing hair is something that you can do all the dang time. And based on Dobby's appearance, that doesn't look like he was born that way. I could be wrong, but I don't think he was born that way.
There's just been a few scenes where we've had like some like sort of villains show up that in the opening credits and stuff like that that are new to this part of the series. that looked to me like it wasn't impossible that they were like Endeavor's son. And I was starting to wonder if like there was sort of a secondary like villain here that was sort of like the number one villain, and that maybe there's a number two villain that is also a corrupted child of the number two hero, in the same way that the number one villain is the corrupted descendant of a previous All Might. So
I mean, I guess
that was a connection I was thinking.
there's some connections there that I never thought about. You know, if the so-called child that he lost, um, is definitely still alive and he doesn't know it. Which is another thing too. It's like I wonder why he doesn't know this kid is wondering about if this kid is still alive, wondering about being a villain.
Well, is it sort of a Jedi thing where like Anakin is dead and Darth Vader doesn't count, or you know what I mean, where they consider him dead, or is it something else?
No,
We know that
because
Chris happened that she's kind
when
of coming back.
they're connect, I mean, with the whole like Anakin and Darth Vader thing, weren't there just hints what the universe like? I mean, even though Luke didn't know where his father was, it wasn't like he was dead to him in his mind. Like
Well,
he
Obi-Wan presents that. Obi-Wan presents the idea that his father is dead to Luke, and I mean, we as the audience, anyone that knows German knew that Darth is German for father, and so Darth.
Oh,
Darth
I didn't know that.
Vader means father, so it's like Dark Father is basically what his name translates to. So there were hints for anyone that knows German, like what it meant. But the big reveal in this episode 5 of which is the second of the originals, the big reveal there was that Luke finds out at the end of the movie that Darth Vader is his father. That's why when they say, "Luke, I am your father," and he goes, "No!" and he goes, "Search your feelings. You know it to be true."
I'm sorry, but like I still think about I still think about that one scene. I mean, it's that scene in particular, but also thinking about the actor. He revealed something very funny, and I think I already told you about this, but it's just I find it still funny that he didn't know what he said to him because it was so loud in the vacuum back there. So he was screaming no to something that he didn't. So like he didn't know how to respond. I'm guessing, and he just chose the one word that came to mind.
That's
You know,
pretty funny.
he couldn't hear him. So, like apparently it was so loud and during the set take of that, and he just like screamed no. I think because he was just playing the character. So thinking
That's
about that and then that scene, it makes it funnier to me because it's like he doesn't know what. I don't know what you're saying.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's funnier than the fact that you don't know who Mark Hamill is.
I know what Mark Hamill is. I just couldn't think of his name.
That's the actor for Luke Skywalker. It's also
Yeah,
the
I
joke.
know who he is. I just couldn't think of his name, so I'm very bad with names here when it comes to like movies. I never learn people's names. I only after a while I'll learn them, but it's like it'll take years before
Mark Hamill's like a legend, though. That's a really hard one not to know, but okay.
I mean, I know it, but I've forgotten it. It's based on getting at. I know who Mark Hamill is. And I've seen a lot of stuff before anybody comes to my Twitter and starts like flaming me on the spot for this. I know who he is. I know the cultural significance. I just can't think of his name when I'm thinking about Star Wars and Luke Skywalker.
You know, he's in the new movie, too.
Yeah, and he dies.
Oh my god, spoiler alert, everybody.
If you've not seen that movie where he ends up, never mind. We're gonna continue with continue with anime.
He doesn't necessarily die.
I'm pretty sure he dies. I mean, he probably lives on in this force like all the Jedi's do when they die, but he died.
It's ambiguous enough where it's possible he didn't. It's possible he transferred his essence or something. I mean, if Palpatine can still be alive, then Mark Hamill's character can still be alive. But
I never understood why Palpatine was still alive. Whatever, I'm not gonna get into that.
that made
That's
me so mad. It made me so mad. I don't get me too started about the new episodes because I hate them.
I don't do that bad. I like the idea that there is this ambiguous daughter of Luke Skywalker running about.
It's not the daughter of Luke Skywalker. It's the daughter of Palpatine.
What?
Rey is Palpatine's daughter.
I never saw that movie. I never saw that movie where they revealed that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So what's with all this talk about Luke having a child out there? Then does he not?
he does not, as far as we know. In the universe, in the old universe where Disney like took the old canon and made it the old canon and rebooted it. In the old universe, I think Luke Skywalker had kids, but in the new universe, so far as we can tell, he does not.
Palpatine had a kid. Okay, now you're gonna. I'm gonna do some research on that when I have time.
Han Solo and Leia had a kid.
I'm aware of that one, and that kid turned out to be the new Darth Vader. Never mind. We're not gonna get into that.
Could you imagine Palpatine having sex with somebody? Isn't that a horrible thought?
Well, he merely did. I didn't know Rey was, which means that she has a connection to the Dark. No, 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 no. I like Rey. I don't want them to ruin Rey, and I definitely don't want them ruining the Black Stormtrooper. That
I
I
like.
will. I will have put a foot up someone's butt if they ruin the
Oh,
Black Stormtrooper.
he's barely in the last movie.
Well, I'm happy, but also disappointed because he seemed like he had so much
His
significance.
whole storyline doesn't go anywhere. He's just barely in the last movie.
They need to fix that. They need because they made such a big deal about him breaking free from the order, whatever.
Honestly, everybody but Rey is basically not relevant in the last. Rey and what's his name, the bad guy, the little emo kid. That's Han Solo's kid.
Oh, you mean the one who virtually raped Rey in that last movie?
Yeah.
I forgot his name actually. I haven't seen.
I can't believe I can't remember it. But Ben Solo, is it Ben Solo, or is that
Is it
from the
Ben?
original?
I thought. I mean, well, it would make sense that that's what they named him. Han Solo and Princess Leia's son. Ben Solo is his name.
Yeah,
Though he changed his name to Kylo Ren, that's probably why we can't remember his name.
that's right, Kylo Ren. I could remember Kylo Ren, but I could remember Ben Solo the whole time. But I knew that Ben Solo wasn't the real answer. It was Kylo Ren.
Okay,
Anyway,
we deviated. We spiraled out of control from from my hero. Let's get back in that
I was
train.
trying to give you a breather here. Like, I know how upset you are.
Uh, da, 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 da. I know, no, Endeavor's birthday's coming up next month, so I mean, I guess you could throw a hate party for that if you want to. I'm not gonna be a part of that.
What's
um,
coming up next month?
Endeavor's birthday, August 8th.
Oh gosh.
But we come over from that, and we see. I'm guessing I took this as they were coming. They're waking up for the first time from to go training with Endeavor, but I'm guessing they came back from training with Endeavor because they have scratch marks all over their uniform, and Bakugo's got this. He's got his mask over his above his on his forehead, now on his face.
Yeah, they went a whole nother day without being able to catch up with him.
I mean, they're learning from the
Yeah,
base of everything. They just they got to put what they're learning into practice. Which I mean, what he's trying to get into their minds is to react and not think. I know Dragon Ball Z Ultra Instinct reference was get that air systems, but Burden kind of notices this as she's trying to like light a fire under them, I'm guessing, but she realizes she didn't have to. Bakugo really went hard though. If you look at his gauntlets, like they're all busted.
yeah,
I
he
guess
had a
like
rough
scratch
day.
marks all over there.
Well, if Endeavor can do anything well, it's push someone to their limits.
I mean, Bakugo's gonna probably really benefit from this, like All Might was saying. But yeah, we see in this episode as they're training, like Endeavor is like being number one and saving everybody before anybody else could get to him, which makes sense. Like I just didn't know his fire propulsion could make him go that fast. The guy could go from 0 to 100 in a minute.
Wasn't he the second one to show up after All Might at the battleground in his last fight?
Was he?
I think it was him and Gran Torino. Yeah.
I guess so. I'm still kind of confused. Like, when did he come up with the not falling technique? Because that's still like I don't know where that came from.
The what not technique?
When Hawks is saying you can fly, he said, "I'm not flying. I'm just not falling." It's just when he's like propelling himself up with the fire on his feet.
That's very Douglas Adams. Douglas Adams says that the secret to flying is falling to the ground and missing.
What?
Douglas Adams in Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy writes that the secret of flying is to fall to the ground and miss.
Doesn't make any sense though.
Well, it does if you think about it. If you miss the ground, then what are you doing?
Floating, but that's still not flying. Ah, my side. Why? I hate you, John. That
I
tickled
love
me in
it.
ways that it shouldn't have. I hate you for that. Dang it. But
He has some great. Douglas Adams has some great quotes about flying. I like the one where he says it flew gracefully through the air in exactly the way that bricks don't.
I would punch him for some of the things he's saying. He's not wrong, but at the same time, I would still punch him because like, he's just like, why? Why? Why?
So the ships hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't. That's the real line.
Jeez.
The ships hung in the sky in much the same way that bricks don't.
This part of the episode that we have is that I guess probably we didn't talk about this, but Fuyumi ends up calling Endeavor and asking if he couldn't bring in Shoto and his friends over so they can meet them. Endeavor actually spends a good day pondering whether he should or not. Ends up thinking about what Shoto told him before, that he's here just to use him. And pretty much they I guess they do a last round of trying to save people, and then Endeavor brings them back to his house, and then things get weirder from here. If they already went weird, they get weirder from here. I would say that Bakugo is probably the most animated this entire thing. Well, actually, more animated. I guess animated in his own way.
Yeah, Bakugo is kind of the comic relief in this episode.
They go to his house, and Fumi ends up greeting them both.
You have to admit that Bakugo is the comic relief in this one.
I mean, I was laughing. I was laughing the entire time I was looking at him.
He was like acting smug and angry and theatrical and yelling at Midoriya.
Speaking of comic relief, when Fuyumi says like, "Oh, I remember you. You're the one that fought my brother in the tournament," and Deku immediately apologizes.
Deku though has like Deku has more than one role in this. Deku is the mediator. He's kind of like the Switzerland of the group because he's not fighting. Nobody there has like a beef with him, except for maybe Endeavor. But like he definitely like Endeavor definitely softens to him a little bit at the end of the episode when he overhears Midoriya trying to like, the speech he gives Todoroki. So if Endeavor had a beef with him, it didn't come up in this episode. And certainly at the end, Endeavor probably thought that, he was on better terms with him. And you also see, like, Endeavor, the way he's, like, looking at Midoriya here and there, he has, like, kind of a grudging respect for him. So, because they're opposite sides. Like, they're old guard and new guard, and you kind of know that Midoriya is going to be the best hero, but even in universe, even though they don't know for sure that he's going to be the best hero, they all know that he's going to be one of the best. So he has like a grudging respect to him throughout the episode, and then at the end, I think he gets a little soft side for him when he hears the speech he gives Todoroki, because that speech really hit home with Todoroki. But it also, intending to hit home for everybody that was eavesdropping. So he's the Switzerland. Everybody liked him. Everybody got along with him. Even Bakugo, in Bakugo's way, got along with him. You see that like Midoriya kind of like softens Bakugo at one point, and Bakugo kind of listens as they're walking in. He's just like, dude, calm down, and has like one of those kind of moments with him. And Bakugo listens, and he actually kind of shuts up for the rest of the episode. So he's there to be the point of peace in the entire room, the one that everybody gets along with generally. And
I mean, point of peace, he's like flattering Fuyumi over all the dinner that like he just. Even brings like, stop analyzing the dinner. You're ruining the taste of the tofu. I was like, jeez.
He does, but like, I mean, he's the positivity. If Midoriya wasn't there, it would have been completely on Todoroki's sister, Fuyumi.
Fuyumi.
Fuyumi. I'm sorry, Fuyumi. It would have been entirely on Fuyumi to be the positive one if Midoriya wasn't there. Midoriya was like a much needed spirit of cooperation and optimism in the room. And
I mean, you say that, but then Natsu walks out.
He walked out, but he didn't storm out. You know what I mean? Like he said, he goes, I hope I did enough. Like that's gonna have to be enough. I'm gonna leave now. But he doesn't like a fight doesn't break out. You know what I mean? Like you don't break out into a fight in front of like guests. And like Midoriya was that calming force. You know what I mean? As a guest and everything too. Like he was a big reason that there wasn't a bigger fight there, even in that situation.
Hey, I just want to bring something, but Natsu just not notice this. If you look at his shirt as he's walking away, he point. You see him face forward a little bit. It says from, and then he turns around and it says back.
That's such an anime trope, though, to have someone like with a really interesting shirt on, like the weed shirt in. Oh,
great! We're back to that again.
No, but seriously, like in Shaman King, like the weed shirt, they do things like that all the time. I think it's really funny. I think it also helped emphasize that when you see back on there's a little joke to it, but like you also emphasize that he turned his back to everybody and was leaving. So there was like a little bit of like enrichment of the plot with it. You know what I mean? Because it emphasized a little bit more that he turned his back to the room and was walking out. But
I guess. Yeah, that means. Speaking of that, if it's to the plot, they bring up that like Deku knows what Deku was talking to Bakugo in the hallway, but like so like do you know about what happened with the Todoroki family? And he's like, it's like not hard. Like he keep talking about it in earshot. Then he flashed back to when he heard it back in season 2. They're using a lot of like stuff that they animated back in season 2 for this episode. I'm noticing.
Yeah,
I think very shocked.
Enough episodes now where I think they're trying to recap and like fill you in a little bit. Hey Jeremy, I'm going to send you a quick screenshot here from 1443 of the episode if you're looking at it from Funimation. I just want your thoughts on what this looks like to you. It's going to pop up in your Discord. Yeah. There you go. Since we're talking about comic relief.
Yeah, I was trying to go past Fuyumi and just like the glow and then the what looks to be nipple buttons, but I'm just gonna move on from that.
All right.
I don't know what you want to talk about the nipple buttons for. I don't know what's going on.
I'm not talking about anything. You're the one that brought up. I haven't said nipple buttons once.
What was it that you want to talk about this image then? Because you point right to them.
She just seems like she's a very clean cook. I mean, she made that big dish.
Yeah, I mean they bring that up like that apparently they had to make. Granted, that entire house is big. I guess it makes sense they have like a groundskeeper or whatever, but she had to retire, and Fuyumi took over.
Not a single stain on her apron. I thought that was pretty impressive.
Okay, I'm just gonna move out these images that have arrows in them, and yeah, I mean, I guess that's good. I mean, I never thought about like that she's able to cook without making a mess.
Yeah, that's all I was trying to say. What did you think I meant?
I had no idea. It's like you freaking like you could have like maybe lowered the image a bit more that way because it was like literally the center of the image is on her chest.
What are you talking about?
Moving on. But oh dear, I'm gonna choke my own spit out here. Now in the episode we're at the point of the episode now where I guess he's like rehashing all the things that happened in the back and in their past. I know Fumi brings up how she feels and everything like that. We also found out apparently he's been corresponding with his mother through letters. It's pretty cool, and she brings up here that she really wants to be able to live with him again, and she wants to make sure that the incident doesn't happen again. So it sounds like she does blame herself for burning him, which I mean it makes sense. I mean she did throw the water on him, even if it was in self-defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seemed like,
when she wrote the letter to Todoroki, when his mom wrote him the letter, I thought it was sort of a touching irony that she said, "I was worried about you because it's cold outside," and she's writing and there's snow falling out there.
Yeah, I know. I kind of laughed a little bit because I was like, Todoroki getting cold. I don't think he feels cold based on the way he dresses half the time.
Well, it's not that. Remember that Todoroki has the means to keep himself warm, but as far as she knows, he won't
Oh, I
use his
never thought
father's
about that
power.
actually.
Yeah, so as far as she knows, he's not using his father's power. She doesn't. It also kind of hints that she doesn't know that he's training with his father right now. You know, she's writing the thing saying, I wish you were cold. Obviously, he's not cold if he's hanging out with Endeavor all day. But there is that little, like, poetic moment where, you know what I mean? You're just like, dude, like, if you only knew. You know?
Well, I mean, they say that like Ray and Fuyumi are like, well, Natsu says that Ray, his mother, and Fuyumi are out there, for having already forgiven Endeavor, but based on what Fuyumi says, that she still hasn't really truly 100% forgiven him. She's just trying to move on. She's not trying like so. I mean, it's the whole like nobody knows what the other person's thinking situation, and none of them are talking, which is like this. It's kind of the unfortunate atmosphere that Endeavor has put into his house from a long time ago. Disassociating Shoto from everybody else. I mean, even if Natsu's biggest problem with Endeavor is the way what happened with their brother, he also blames Endeavor also for not being able to get to know his little brother, because as soon as he was popped out, he was sent to train at 5 years old.
He
So it
was
sounds like,
popped out at 5 years old.
yeah, we'll go with that. But let me rephrase what I was saying. After he was born, it didn't seem like he had a lot of time with Shoto, from like 1 to 4. When he turned 5, it seemed like he literally was torn away from the world that he knew to train with his father. And we know what happened after that point. I also want to bring up this, the final scene in the episode. We bring this up at the very beginning of this podcast, is that we finally get a chance to see an official. Well, it's not him now. Well, what him would have been, but it was him at the time that I guess he died. Toya's image in the shrine, and we see Endeavor praying, kneeling and praying at it, and even saying that he wishes that like that dream he had with everybody else, he could have been in there too. So it sounds like Endeavor is truly trying to fix whatever he's broken, but it doesn't seem like he's trying to redeem himself. But in reality, he is slowly doing it unintentionally. So it's like a very like weird type of redemption arc. But I don't think he's trying to be redeemable. He's just trying to fix a lot of what he's broken,
Yeah.
which is an interesting way to take a character in a redemption arc. Most characters go through redemption arcs wanting to be redeemed, but this one isn't. I also want to bring up that I guess I brought this up before about the color of the eyes. It's very ominous, well, not ominous, but it's really weird that at least for the other children, not including Shoto, their eyes are gray like their mother's. Like they look exactly like their mother. The only thing that's, well, Fuyumi looks exactly like her mother. She just looks like a younger version of her. Um, but Natsu just looks like his father, but with like I guess a color arrangement of his mother over him. So
Now,
I
am
think
I mistaken, or does Toya has blue eyes, right?
Toya's eye. Whoa, wait a minute. He has. I didn't see that until now. Wow. In the image, in the photo of him as a kid, his eyes are blue.
And so are Dobby's.
That's an odd. Wow. Okay. Didn't expect to see that. Actually, the hair looks almost similar to Dobby's too, if he was older.
Uh huh. So that's an interesting little thing. Endeavor's eyes are blue as well.
I mean, that's why I'm like. I mean, that's where the blue came from. Was this? But at the end of the episode, very end, we get like a little preview of like it looks to be some crazy dude with bandages. In the preview, we see him taking that steroid that we're seeing a whole heck of a lot more of. Um, Apparently he's got a beef with Endeavor, whatever that beef is. If I was Endeavor, I'd say you got a beef with me, take a number. Everybody's got a beef with me.
Yeah, he barbecued that beef. He's had bandages all over his body. I guess it's possible that like he got burned by him or something.
But the problem, he's using the bandage as like a weapon, like it's his quirk.
Or like
It'd be weirdly weird if that was his, if the, that was something happened to him after the fact. Cause like, what, did Endeavor give you a quirk?
Well, I mean, Endeavor's not too important to deal with everyday criminals, so if he burned an everyday criminal, that could be this guy. And we know that Eraserhead has that fighting style with bandages too, and we've seen all sorts of other stuff. And manipulating the bandages could just be his quirk anyway.
I guess, I mean, whatever he is, he apparently can't. It looks like he couldn't take Natsuo without like steroiding up. 'Cause he just put the needle in his neck immediately as soon as he sees him. But that's interesting. And I mean, like, the next episode looks like it's gonna be about like him taking hostage Endeavor's son, and we see Endeavor like looking very pissed off at in a confrontation with him. That's like one of the few first. It's like one of the few actual expressions we've seen Endeavor have in his face besides being cocky, which is his everyday look. But this episode was good. Just didn't enjoy all the confirmation that I did not need.
Aww.
I'll get over it. I gotta do every episode.
Your little hero is burning up.
He was always burning up. He was on fire. 24/7. Whatever. Actually, speaking of that, I thought that
he'll be like a phoenix and he'll burn up and rise from the ashes.
Speaking of that, like, there were various scenes early on in the series where we see Endeavor like with his fire quirk on. He's got like a fire beard. Do you think it was weird in one of those scenes in this episode where we see he actually has a beard? Like, he's not using his flame quirk at all, and he's actually got a full beard.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird because I feel like that was maybe the animators throwing people bones because like, people are always wondering does he have a beard underneath that flame or whatnot. I have no idea. It seemed like an odd design choice because he doesn't have a beard anymore. It's like he shaves. I'm guessing maybe it burns the flame. Maybe he can't have a beard when he's using his quirk, so he shaves so that way it doesn't burn the hair on his face to ashes.
Or somewhere else where he has hair.
Oh no. Oh no, that's disturbing. Oh no, that's just that's horrible. That's bad.
Clean up without a tissue.
Okay, I think with that, I think we're just gonna call it. I think that's what he wanted, and that's what he used that last statement for. So we're gonna end it here. See you guys next week for whatever it is. I think it's gonna be 3 episodes we're reviewing. Shaman King, and then My Hero. Oh, speaking of that, Shaman King's on a hiatus while the Olympics is going on, so you might be able to get caught up. I have no idea.
That'd be pretty exciting.
So we will see whenever that comes up. See you guys next week.